The moment that you're born into this world, you are pure evil. It's a beautiful morning, and your mom is sitting in a cozy nest, tending to her soon-to-hatch eggs. Suddenly, one of the eggs begins to crack, much to her surprise. She expected to wait a few more days before meeting her first chick, but here you are, already breaking free from the shell. And before your parents can even process what's happening, you start crying out loud, demanding to be fed. So, like any civilized and responsible parents, they rush out to hunt for some food. At this stage, you're blind and helpless. You can't carry out your evil plan just yet. So the first step is to grow as fast as possible, faster than your future siblings who are still stuck inside their eggs. And when your parents return with the food, you won't settle for any seeds or fruit. You demand live, fresh insects. And of course, they have to feed you directly, beak to beak. As long as it moves, it meets your standards. And you eat a lot, but your parents are hardworking and determined, so they'll keep feeding you until you're finally satisfied. After devouring tons of nutritious protein, you start growing stronger and bigger at an alarming rate. By now, you've developed the strength you need to execute the next phase of your diabolical plan. But let's rewind a couple of weeks to see how you got here. It's a beautiful spring in northern Germany, and the whole place is bursting with life. Birds are singing, flowers are blooming, and it's the perfect time to have offspring. Everything seems peaceful and harmonious until a dark shadow appears in the sky. It's your mom, a female cuckoo bird. She's just flown 5,000 kilometers all the way from Africa to Europe, returning to the place where she herself was raised. But your mom, she's not exactly what you'd call responsible, not like the other dedicated mothers in the place. After hooking up with your dad to create you, she has no interest at all in being a single parent. So she plans to trick some poor unsuspecting couple into raising you as their own. But it's easier said than done. Word has already spread through the neighborhood that the cuckoo birds are notorious for taking advantage of others. So now, every bird in the area is on high alert. Some even try to chase her away. But your mom is actually very big, bigger than most of the bird in the area. And she makes it clear that she's not backing down. She might be a terrible parent, but she's also a clever one. Now she just stands there, watching and studying every nearby family. She takes notes of who's feeding on insects, who leaves their nest often, and which ones look like easy targets. Eventually, one of the couple she's been watching leaves their nest to go search for food. And that's her moment. Your mom swoops in quickly and quietly. First, she removes one of their eggs. Then, in just a matter of seconds, she lays one of her own eggs in its place. It looks almost identical to the others, so the parents won't suspect a thing. With her mission complete, she takes off, dumping her responsibility on someone else. When your foster parents return, they do get a little suspicious. One of the eggs looks a little bit off. But since they didn't see anything unusual happen, they just brush it off and go back to caring for the nest. Lucky for you that your foster parents aren't the sharpest beaks in the forest. But not every cuckoo chick is that fortunate. Just look at your cousin over there. He's not so lucky. His foster parents already suspect that he's the imposter. So without hesitation, they toss him right out of the nest. And your second cousin? She's got it even worse. When her foster parents figured out she was an intruder, they destroyed her egg and then used it for some free nutrients. This is the first and hardest step of being a cuckoo. But if you make it, then your life is only going up from here. Back to the present. And now, you're finally ready to carry out your evil plan. You have no time to waste, because once your foster siblings hatch, you'll have to share all the food. And that's not something you're willing to do. So once your foster parents leave to get food, you start squirming around the nest like a maniac. You try to get one of the other eggs onto your back, then use all your strength to push it out. But the first time you fail, the egg just rolls right back into place. But you don't give up. So you try again, and again, until you push the first egg out of the nest. Then you keep repeating the process, and eventually, every single egg is gone. It's hard to believe you pulled this off while still blind and barely able to move. But that's where your superpower comes in. As a baby cuckoo, you're born with a special sensitive spot on your back. When it touches something like another egg, it triggers an automatic instinct to shove it out of the nest. And when your foster parents return, they do find it strange that the nest is almost empty. But the moment you start crying, all their concern disappears. Their only thought right now is feeding you. When a baby bird cries, it sends out a distress signal that triggers the parents to respond by feeding it. It's a built-in instinct in most birds, just not in your kind, of course. A week later, and everything is going perfectly. You're getting all the food you want, and your foster parents are working harder than ever to satisfy your every need. At this point, You're now much bigger, and your eyes are already open. But that's when you realize that you made a mistake. There's another egg in the nest, and it just hatched. Somehow, while you were still a blind bird, you missed one. And now, during feeding time, you have to share with your new foster sibling. And that is simply unacceptable. And with 2 mouths to feed, your foster parents once again head out to find food. So, with no one around, your sibling, still blind and helpless, instinctively crawls toward you, seeking warmth and protection. Even though you're only a week older, you're already much larger and stronger than your foster sibling. So you teach him his first and final lesson about betrayal. And just like you did with the others, you toss him right out of the nest. A couple weeks later, and you've grown to an impressive size, so much so that you now completely fill the nest. But that also means that you need even more food. So now, you have to find a way to make your foster parents work even harder. Luckily, just like your real mother, you're a naturally gifted scam artist. Not only can you call out loudly and persistently, but you've also developed the ability to mimic the sound of an entire nest of chicks. You trick your foster parents into thinking they're not just feeding one oversized imposter, but multiple hungry babies. So they double their efforts, bringing back more and more food. And just like that, you start growing even faster. Eventually, you become so massive that you're forced to leave the nest. By now, you're nearly twice the size of your foster parents, and yet you still refuse to find your own food. Instead, you just chill on a nearby branch, waiting to be served like the royalty you believe you are. But you know that this can't last forever. You'll never meet your real mother, but your foster parents, you know everything about them. You know what they look like, where they built their nest. You even record the sounds of the area they raised you in. And all those memories are crucial for your kind's survival. After enough time has passed, you spread your wings and leave them behind forever. But that's not the end of it. Your actions don't just destroy one generation. They ripple through multiple generations of your foster parents' kind. You see, this was their very first time being parents. That's why they were so easy to fool. But the damage doesn't stop there. The next time they have chicks of their own, something will feel off. Because the memory of you is burned into their instincts. They'll mistake their real children for imposter chicks. So they abandon the current nest and leave their actual babies to starve. After destroying generations of birds, you're not about to stick around for Europe's cold winter. So you team up with your fellow cuckoos and head straight to Africa. Now you're in the rainforest, finally chilling with your own kind, and a few unexpected neighbors too. You enjoy some good food, warm weather, and just living your best life. You also molt out of your juvenile plumage and into your adult feathers. When spring rolls around, you're ready to return to the very place where you were raised. But the trip back will be long and difficult, so you have to fatten up to prepare for that return journey. And when the rain hit, it's time for you to begin your great journey back to Europe. In April, you return to the place where you were raised, and it's time to find a mate. All the male in the area is holding a contest, and the one that can sing the loudest and the longest will get to be with you. But since you're a female cuckoo, you're not going to make it easy. You fly as far as possible, forcing your chosen partner to chase after you. And if he successfully catch you, then congratulations. You are officially a couple. But don't get too attached, because in a couple of days, he will fly away and leave you behind forever. And you're not planning to raise chicks on your own. So with the memory of your foster parents firmly stuck in your mind, you search far and wide until you find another pair of those birds. And with that, the cycle continues.